For a long time, we've talked about aging as if it's just wear and tear, like a machine that inevitably rusts out part by part until it stops. But a newer way of thinking is starting to take hold in science. What if aging isn't only about broken parts, but about broken instructions?
In that view, your body isn't simply wearing out. Instead, the biological system is running on corrupted software. And if that's true, then at least in theory, you don't just patch one failing component at a time. You try to reset the code, you restore the signals, repair the information, and get the system functioning like it's supposed to.
Now, why does that matter beyond the obvious desire to live longer? Because aging isn't just something that happens alongside disease. Aging is increasingly framed as the underlying driver of many of the biggest diseases we fear the most: Alzheimer's, cancer, heart disease, and a long list of chronic conditions that show up later in life. So imagine what it would mean if you could meaningfully slow biological aging, or even partially reverse it. You wouldn't only be adding years, you'd be changing the entire disease landscape. Instead of fighting Alzheimer's once it's advanced, or managing heart disease after decades of decline, you'd be addressing a root cause that makes those illnesses more likely in the first place. That's the health argument. But there's an economic argument hiding right behind it, and it might be just as big. On a societal level, biological decline is expensive. In advanced countries, a huge share of economic activity is tied up in healthcare and in managing chronic disease. And here's a detail that's easy to say quickly but heavy to live through. For many people, the last 5 to 10 years of life are the sick years. Those years tend to be the most medically intense and the most costly. They can wipe out personal savings, they can drain retirement accounts, they can place enormous pressure on caregivers and families. And on the public side, they can consume government budgets through Medicare-style programs, long-term care systems, and hospital infrastructure built around chronic decline.
So when you hear the claim that age reversal medicine could create massive economic advantages, it's not just hype about a futuristic pill. It's a straightforward math problem. If you reduce the number of years people spend in expensive chronic illness, you remove the costliest chapter of healthcare spending, and that, in turn, could free up resources across the whole economy. Individuals keep more of their own money, families shoulder less financial stress, governments spend less on late-stage disease management, and the same funds can be redirected toward education, innovation, infrastructure, or simply kept by households to improve quality of life.
But the promise of healthier longevity isn't only about spending less. It's also about producing more and producing better. Think about human capital for a moment. A society benefits when people aren't just alive but capable. There's an idea embedded in these longevity discussions that's pretty provocative. What if someone could have the experience and knowledge of a 50-year-old, or even an 80-year-old, but the physical capacity closer to a 30-year-old?
If that happened at scale, it could reshape labor markets and productivity. You'd have more healthy years where people can work, build, invent, mentor, and lead. You'd preserve institutional knowledge longer. You'd reduce the number of people who exit the workforce primarily due to health decline rather than choice.
And this connects to another big macro trend. Many countries are worrying about population declines and shortages of working-age adults. If fewer young people are entering the labor force, one solution is to keep older adults healthier and fully capable for longer. In other words, longer health span becomes a strategy for economic resilience. Now zoom back in from nations to individuals, because this is where it gets personal.
We often talk about building wealth, growing a portfolio, leaving a legacy. But there's an uncomfortable question underneath all of that. What is a financial legacy worth if you don't have the healthy years to enjoy it? It's one thing to accumulate assets. It's another thing to have the mobility, energy, and brain health to travel, spend time with family, start a second career, or simply live day to day without constant medical appointments. Longevity without quality is not the dream. Healthspan is the dream.
That's why some modern holistic advisory approaches are beginning to blend two worlds that used to be separate: financial strategy and biological optimization. On the financial side, that might include tools like smarter home financing decisions, reverse mortgages in the right context, or structured personal banking systems that help people access capital and manage liquidity as their lives evolve. On the health side, the conversation increasingly includes metabolic strategies designed to support cellular repair and resilience. You'll hear people talk about protocols like fasting, often framed around improving metabolic flexibility and supporting molecules involved in cellular energy and repair, including NAD-related pathways and DNA maintenance.
The core idea is not that money replaces medicine or that one hack solves everything. It's that health and wealth compound together. Strong finances can fund better choices, reduce stress, and open access to care. Strong health protects the time and capacity needed to earn, invest, and actually enjoy what you've built. In that sense, the goal shifts from build a big number in an account to build a full legacy of health and wealth. A life where your financial planning isn't separate from your physical future and where longevity is treated as an asset worth protecting.
If age reversal therapies become real and widely adopted, the healthcare system itself would have to evolve. Today, so much of medicine is organized around treating individual age-related diseases one by one. One specialist for the heart, another for the brain, another for cancer, another for diabetes. But if aging is the upstream driver, and if you can actually reset aspects of biological age, then the whole model changes. Instead of endlessly managing downstream problems, medicine would lean toward restoring the body's baseline function. More like rebooting a system than chasing symptoms across dozens of categories. And bringing it all together, this is the big takeaway. Biological health and financial systems aren't separate stories. They're one story told at two levels, personal and societal. Personally, better health protects the value of your wealth. Societally, better health reduces the costliest years of care and increases the supply of productive, capable people. If we could compress or eliminate those final years of sickness that currently consume so much money and energy, the upside wouldn't just be longer lives. It would be a different kind of life, one with more capacity, more independence, and far less financial devastation at the end. Aging may have once seemed like an unavoidable downward slope. But if the corrupted software idea holds and science learns how to repair and reset that code, we're not just talking about changing medicine. We're talking about changing what retirement means, what healthcare means, what a career arc looks like, and how nations plan for the future. And the question worth sitting with is simple. If the next era of progress is about extending health, not just extending time, are our personal plans and our public systems ready for that? By integrating smart financing with metabolic health strategies like the ones Sinclair discusses, such as fasting to raise your NAD levels and repair your DNA, you can achieve peak performance in both your bank account and your physical body. We are in this together, from age 10 to 110. Life has its ups and downs, but you're not alone. We love ya. Please like, subscribe, and join us at IamHealthyMoney.com. Let's keep building that legacy of health and wealth together.